Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has unveiled concessions in order to reach peace and end the war with Russia. Zelensky says the latest version of a plan to end the Russian invasion would freeze the front line, but still pave the way for Ukrainian withdrawals and the creation of demilitarized zones. The Ukrainian president said that he is ready to pull his troops back from areas of the eastern Donetsk region, still under Kiev's control, and turn the areas into a demilitarized zone as part of a possible peace deal with Moscow. Zelensky, however, added that any plan that involves Ukraine pulling back its troops would need to pass a referendum in the country. The offer is the closest Zelensky has come to address the thorny territorial disputes in Donetsk that have repeatedly derailed peace talks. Ukraine also suggested Enogodor, a city occupied by Russia that manages the Zaporizhzhia power plant, could become a demilitarized zone. The plan also sees joint US, Ukrainian, Russian management of the Zaporizhzhia plant that is occupied by Russian troops. Zelensky says he expects Russia to respond to the peace plan in the next 24 hours. On NATO, he says it is NATO members' choice whether to have Ukraine or not. He stated that Ukraine would hold presidential elections only after an agreement is signed. Russian President Putin has been briefed about the potential peace deal, and Moscow is now formulating its position. Joining us now on this broadcast is Mr. Ben Aris. He's a founder and editor-in-chief of BNE IntelliNews and also former Moscow bureau chief for the Daily Telegraph. Merry Christmas. Thank you very much for joining us at this hour and for your time. Do you think with this new proposal Zelensky has conceded to Putin and the Russian army?
Well, Merry Christmas to you too. And hopefully we're hoping for a Christmas gift of a peace deal. I mean, there has been significant progress in closing the gap between both sides, but the gap still remains fairly wide. However, as you reported, I mean, Zelensky with this proposal of withdrawals, I mean, it's the first time he's talked about that. And that's a significant step forward because he's ruled it out before. I think what's going on at the moment is, there's a possible peace deal on the table. There's been intense talks here in Berlin 10 days ago, and then again, more intense talks last week in Miami, and they're getting closer. But they're trying to find a formula where Ukraine armed forces withdraw in some way from Donbass without calling it a withdrawal. And at the same time, they're looking to Putin to soften his line a little, because he said, adamantly that Ukraine has to give up the Donbass, and Zelensky's refused, but Putin's not backing down on that because of they have the upper hand on the battlefield. I think Putin feels he doesn't need to compromise. So what we're looking now for is some sort of diplomatic compromise, some formulation whereby Putin gets what he wants, the AFU withdrawing from Donbass, but at the same time, Zelensky doesn't have to humiliates himself by pulling back. And as you say, the new 20-point version of the plan that's been thrashed out, the counteroffer by the Ukrainians, has been sent to Moscow, and we're expecting a response tomorrow.
Mr. Aris, President Zelensky is suggesting a demilitarized zone or a creation of demilitarized zones. How might the creation of these zones affect the conflict dynamics, and what are the risks involved?
Well, the deal on the table is that if Putin signs off on this, there's an immediate ceasefire. And as part of any ceasefire, you stand your army down. It's just a question of where they're standing. And the Ukrainians have taken the position like we stand where we stand, and they don't want to move back. But this was another compromise by Zelensky. He suggested that we could withdraw from the 15% of Donetsk, one of the two Donbass regions. We could withdraw to the edge of that region. But if we do that, then the Russians should likewise withdraw. But is that such a stretch? I mean, if the fighting stops, then everyone's going to stand their armies down. And if they stand, and we're only talking about something between 5 and 40-kilometer retreat, is that so bad? So this is the key question for Putin, if he's willing to do this. Because for Putin, he can sell this as a victory to his people today. I mean, they would accept already what he's already done. So whether he makes this diplomatic concession and moves his troops 40 kilometers to the east to close the deal remains to be seen. But as I say, it's tantalizingly close, if you ask me.
Mr. Ben Harris, it's good to see you. Thank you very much for your insights and for talking to us. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.